All right. How we doing, sir?
Good, man. How's it going?
Going good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Micah White. He's an amateur fighter in MMA, 3-1. Just recently fought February 6th it was, right?
I believe so, yes.
All right. I had another person that was on here that had just fought on that card too. His name was Juan Adams. Um, so that was cool to have you guys fighting on the same card. Uh, but I wanted to talk to you about that. It's pretty recent, it's pretty fresh. Um, and you were fighting amazingly in the fight. A person like me who's never been in that position, I've never competed before, but I've trained and I've had to get pushed to limits that I didn't think I would have, but I never did it in a life or death situation. What does it feel like to be winning that fight, to be having to have a good performance, have a great performance, and then all of a sudden it just gets snatched away from you? What goes through your head?
Yeah, man. The sad part about the game of mixed martial arts in general is it's a game of inches. So everything can be going your way. It's not like football or basketball where you're up 30, 40 points going into the fourth quarter and the win is almost guaranteed. This you're never truly winning until it's over. So uh, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions. Like you said, everything was going good until it wasn't. Felt like I was doing everything we had game plan for, and then things slip up and things happen. But everything happens for a reason. So it'll all come together. The right time it's supposed to.
Right. What was James Krause telling you in the corner, like after round one? Because I saw you posted him. I don't know if he was actually with you or not, but I saw you posted him, and I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of him talking to you in the corner as well. What was he
Yeah.
telling you about in the corner after the first?
Yeah, him and Jeff Molina, they came down. We all traveled from Kansas City for this fight. Um, Everything was going good. He was, throwing some more combos, just being more comfortable there. Just being more comfortable in our fit-ins. But overall, the first round looked great for us. It's just keep the same thing up. We wanted to try some different things off the cage. Some things weren't working the way we thought they would. But nothing, no crazy switches. Just kind of same thing, just a little sharper, a little quicker, and first rounds of fights, and that was a title fight, so it's a 5 rounder. You got a lot of fight left,
Right,
so
right,
no crazy big switches or changes. Just really kind of more settle in now. We got all the jitters out. You got all the adrenaline out. All right, now let's focus in and let's get to work.
right. So, what do you think the problem was? Do you think it was just you got caught? Was it an experience thing? Was it a what do you think the issue was with the submission?
Yeah, I definitely got caught. I really think that my opponent, his team, props to them, were working that specific choke leading up to this fight. It was about, I believe, like maybe 20, 25 seconds left for the second round. Got tripped, immediately start to work up, go to work out, pulls it in, wraps in the choke, and he was much bigger than me. And his arms were really long. So whenever he sunk it up, I went and defended kind of like a normal guillotine, I guess, and just try to fight hands. But he had it like ninja choke style, which means like his hands are basically like at the top. And
Right.
so I'm fighting, and then one of our last resorts is we kind of like try to scramble out, and when I go to scramble out, I wake up to the refs and stuff above me. So
Right.
it happens.
Right, right. It's part of martial arts, you know. Everybody gets caught. Everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you get rocked, you get knocked out, you get submitted. Everybody has to experience it at least once. So, it's good not that you experienced getting choked out, but it's good that you experienced a loss and you experienced a hole in your game before it got exploited in a bigger way,
Yes.
and on a bigger stage. So, what are you doing? What do you feel after a fight like that? After it ends that way, and what do you do after that?
So it's definitely a roller coaster of emotions. First couple of days, you're obviously upset that you experience loss in general. It's my first one for MMA. But now that kind of all the recent emotions and kind of like the heartbreak of it are gone. Man, it's I'm really glad that it happened when it did. I'm 19 years old. It was only my fourth fight. I have so much career left, and the fact that I can get this kind of experience now, Matt, in my career, it's a blessing, honestly, because there were some things that this fight in that scenario of getting caught that opened up my eyes of things that I could be doing better in all of my fights. But when you win, you see little things you can get better in, of course, sharper, stronger, faster, but you still won. So obviously, whatever I've been doing up until this point has been enough to win. So I feel like I was overall skill wise better than this kid, even with the size disadvantage. Like, didn't cut any weight. I cut from like 128 pounds to 125. With all that, still controlling, still doing what I was doing, but I don't feel personally like I've showed up with more than 70-75% of my true potential in any of my fights.
Right.
And this was kind of that thing to finally break that barrier. And it's like, now you're not perfect now, the whole undefeated as an amateur and all that different stuff's out the window. Now, like, let's just fight,
Right.
So one thing that I do really love about Glory MMA, where I'm at in Missouri, is we train the same whether we have fights scheduled or not. So as far as what's going on now, the training's the same, still getting my strength and conditioning, everything really stays the same. It's just trying to find another one to get lined up,
Right.
and really making sure I bring the Micah White that's in training into the cage on fight night.
Yeah, because you hear Jeff Molina and James Krause, they speak so highly of you. Jeff Molina had posted on his story. He was asked two fighters. Well, he was asked a fighter, but he said amateur and professional. And the amateur pick that he had for the fighter that would become a champion in the future was you, which speaks a
Right.
lot to your potential and what he sees in you and the work that you're doing. And I think it speaks a lot to everybody. Everybody sees you. You're a young kid. We're the same age. So they see people like you and they're like, he's got a lot of time. He's got 4 amateur fights in at 19. Most people don't have 4 amateur fights in at 20 in their 20s. They're late 20s. So
Yeah.
a lot of people hop in the game late. You hopped in very early. You're getting a lot of experience, and obviously your teammates think very highly of you because of it. So what is that like to have all those big names, especially James Krause, who is a legend and a guy who, if BMF titles were given out to everybody who deserved it, he'd have the biggest, shiniest one because that guy will hop in 13 hours notice. It doesn't matter. So what is that like to have a guy like that around you?
Hey, he's a dog, man. It's amazing. He's the whole reason why I moved. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. I started martial arts when I was 5 years old, and I always knew once I graduated that I was gonna do it full time. And we I was kind of battling between if I wanted to go wrestle in college for 4 years and then pursue MMA, or go straight out of high school. And I had the opportunities out of high school, and I was like, man, this is what I want to do. And if I'm gonna shift my life and pursue this full time, I want to be at the best place. And I had amazing feedback with James Krause. As you know, he's a legend. He's an awesome guy, but I never really known him as a coach. It had always been as the fighter and the competitor and like the dog, the dude that'll show up on 24 hours notice. I was there at his fight in Houston, whenever he took the fight, I'm like, man, this dude's a beast. I watched him since
Right.
Ultimate. I was like, he's awesome. But I've grown, man, 10 times more of respect and a love for that guy, man. He's really awesome. He really cares for his fighters. Not a lot of people get to see the James Krause as, a person and a man, and like, a role model behind the scenes of all the social media and spotlights. And he's a really good dude, man. He goes way beyond just your stereotypical coach, like he helps us with life, becoming better men, like becoming role models, like investing our money, our finance, like growing as men, not just as fighters, in and out of the cage. And it's a blessing to be here. I love my team. I love Glory MMA. It's definitely the best decision I've made for my career so far.
Right. So speaking on that again, what is it like to be surrounded by talent that is also at that level? Because Jeff Molina is in the UFC right now. I don't know if there are any other UFC fighters in that gym. I'm not sure, but I do know there
Yeah,
are a lot of professional high level guys in that gym.
great, man. So I believe uh you'd have to fact check me, but I last that I heard we had about like 16, 17 signed UFC fighters out of Glory. As far as the flyweight scene goes, you know, we got some bigger, heavier guys. Some people have, you know, moved or stayed or whatever, different things. But we got Tim Elliott as well, who is also a legend in the flyweight division. He fought for a world title, won the Ultimate Fighter. Jeff Molina, he's a great dude. That, you know, I get the, you know, I believe in training. You have to have like the perfect range of training partners. So like you need to have people, you know, some like the newer guys where you can kind of work new stuff on, try things out that you won't be able to work on the guys like Jeff Molina, Tim Elliott.
Right.
Then you need the rounds where you're competing. Some days, you know, or even some goes in a day, you're winning, they're winning. So you really are like fighting to compete with each other every day. And then there's the rounds where you got the Jeff Molinas, the Tim Elliott's that humble you, and they really kind of put it on you to give you a place to really like shoot and really reach to like get better. You
Right.
know, it's awesome, man. Like that's the number one thing you know, that can help you grow is like you got a good team around you. And with the coaches and training partners that I have, we're also, I think, have some other things working to get some more really high level guys into Glory.
Right.
So it's amazing. I love it.
Right. How many more fights would you say that you need before you go one professional and two till you would like to be in the UFC? Would you like to take a nice steady route, or would you like to as soon as possible? Like how would you see yourself getting in there in your dream situation?
Man, this I thought I had an idea up until this last fight. You know, we all kind of have, I guess, a certain game plan and the perfect route. But the reality is, man, it's never usually how you plan it out. But as of right now, man, I'm taking it one fight at a time. My biggest thing is like I gotta get this one back. First of all, you know,
Right.
the very next day I text James, I text Jeff, and we had a local event here in Kansas City. I was like, man, if a 125 Emmy falls out of that, I'm on it. You know,
Right.
like very next week, you know, I'm like, no injuries. I don't have a weight cut. Like I just got to get that back. So trying to get back in as soon as possible, man. I wanted like 4 this year, but now that I'm kind of planning it out, I could get potentially maybe 5, you know, maybe 6 in this year, just depending, you know, like I'm only 19 years old. A big disadvantage I have too is like my size, you know,
Right.
like keeping weight so low for wrestling all 4 years, not really letting my body grow. So really putting on like the muscle and, you know,
Mhm.
I'm cutting from 155, 160, you know, showing up 140, 145 on fight night. And I'll be 125 the next day, you
Right.
know, after fueling up and stuff, which is crazy. So just taking it slow, man. I was a little kind of like steady on the gas, like pushing to make it happen kind of quick. But now I realize, you know, I have nothing but time, you know,
Mhm.
and I feel one of the worst things that I can do for my career is rush it. And you know, I definitely believe I can do some special things in this sport. I just got to do it right, you know,
Right.
follow of, you know, guys like James Krause and my management team with Iridium and Jason House, and really I can do my part of, you know, the fighting, keep me healthy and learning, and let them kind of, you know, drive my career, you know, the best way they can. And I just do what I can control. So whenever they believe I'm ready, I'll be ready.
Right. Right. Um. So in the UFC right now,
Mm.
out of every fighter that you see, this is a bit of a silly question because you work with a number of UFC fighters already. So, um, but out of everyone in the UFC, ones that you haven't worked with,
Right.
who do you see as the person that you would love to have as a training partner? Like they're in every single practice. They're whenever you start camp, they're there. You're training with them. They're your duo. They're your tandem. Who would you like to have in that spot?
Man, for me personally, if I could pick one person, it'd have to be Brandon Moreno. He's obviously one of the best in the world. Like he's right there for champ. He's a really I've gotten the pleasure to be able to meet him. I've gotten a seminar with him before. Super nice guy, genuine dude. And then he's also my weight. There's guys with plenty of knowledge that of champions, that I would love to obviously learn from, but to be able to kind of someone else to relate to my weight class and the mobility and the, every weight class, the higher you go, like you're not going to be heavyweights moving and having to do certain things like us flyweights do, so he's obviously the top level of my division. So
Right.
if have him in, man, that'd be money for me. That's a dream of mine.
Right. Speaking of Brandon Moreno, how did you score that fight?
Man, I haven't gotten to watch it back fully without like stops. I've seen like bits and pieces, man. But the thing about the flyweight division, bro, is like once you get to the top, man, everyone's just good. Figueiredo, man, he's good. Moreno's they're just good dudes, So those fights, it's gonna be won and lost by inches.
Right.
It's rare to usually see someone completely outclass another once you get to the top, five, 3 to 5 in the in division, man. So Figueiredo's a dog. Moreno's a beast. I love for them to do a 4. It kind of, I don't think it's ever really happened before, but it makes sense in the scenario. You got like a draw, a win by a finish, and then a close, to some people arguable, some people not decision. It's like
Right.
one more time, let's really
Make it
figure out.
final.
But like you said, like they clearly kind of have shown they're separated from the division. Like they're
Right.
about to 4 times in a row without even considering any other contenders, and
Mhm.
and there's a lot of other flyweight fights going on to figure out different contenders, but it's the level is, there's just different levels, you know what I mean?
Because you have guys like Pantoja, Askarov. I'm gonna forget somebody, but there's a lot of guys there that are campaigning for that shot.
Yeah.
But it's like that in a few weight classes where there's two guys who are just neck and neck, and you got Max Holloway, Volk, you got
Yeah.
middleweight, which is coming up today with Izzy
Yeah.
and Rob, Colby and Kamaru. Like there's always two
Yeah.
guys that are at the top of the weight class, and they're just so good when they get in there. You don't have a defining answer. Even if
Right.
like the Rob and Izzy situation where one of them gets knocked out and it's a clear winner, you still don't feel just yet that you know who the better man is until we see something that is stamped. And we haven't seen that with two of those. We haven't seen that with Rob and Max, in my opinion. I think there's still a little bit of controversy there. And we haven't seen it with Moreno and Figueredo because I feel
Right.
like those are two those are two guys that are just never going to let each other get the better. We saw
Yeah.
one get finished, but then we see a rematch, and all of a sudden now Figueiredo's getting knocked down, and Figueiredo's looking like a world beater all of a sudden. So it's really
Yeah.
just you just have to have those matchups over and over. So I'm really
Yeah.
interested to see that. And speaking of Rob versus Izzy, how do you see that fight playing out?
Man, it's an exciting one, man. It's two really good guys that, like you said, they've really kind of separated themselves from the division, the rest of the division. It should be interesting. If I had a bet on it, I'd probably say Izzy takes it. But I definitely think Robert is gonna make it a very competitive fight. It's not like the first one was like crazy blown out the water, and losses and things like that can do something to you to where, and he's been at the top level as a champion as well. So I think he's going to make it very interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised either way who takes it. But if I had to say, I would say Izzy would itch it out.
Right. Um, you recently, or you're not recently, you're about to have a Valentine's Day, and
Yeah.
you posted it on your story. It's your first ever long distance one, man. So to talk about that, what's going on there, man?
Yeah, man. So I got a girl back home, man. She's amazing. It's hard, man. You know, to get to where you want to be in this game, man, it takes sacrifice. It's just how it is. Even back wrestling in high school, I was around a lot of people who didn't sacrifice and didn't take it as serious, which is okay. But the results speak, and
Right.
I knew I had to do with this sport, man. I had a pretty good training regime back in Houston as well. I have a great group of guys out there that I do train with at Henzo Gracie Lake Houston. It's actually under Mick Maynard's gym. They're a good group of guys, good coaching, cool dudes, but I think for myself personally, I just needed like to get away, and that was going to be what's best for me. And it's hard, man. It's not ideal. I would love to be able to go pick up some flowers from the store and bring it to her myself, but having the
Right.
little delivery things online and whatever it takes. But it's a part of the sacrifice, but as far as the Valentine specifically, shout out to my girl Megan Bacon, you know what I mean? But yeah, she's amazing. She's super supportive, and it'd be really hard to have some childish girl on this Valentine's Day that's always whining and complaining about me not being home, but she's super supportive and encouraging, and she's all I could ever ask for. So it just sucks having to be away, away from my family, my parents, my brothers, my sister. She kind of does her thing in college, but if I could pick up glory and the coaches and the training partners and everything and just smack it right in my hometown, it'd
Right.
be amazing, but it's a part of it.
Right. So what is that like to have to sacrifice? Like, what are the sacrifices? What do they cost you? How does it feel knowing that you're doing all this for a great purpose, but you're still climbing that mountain? Like, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it's hard at times, of course, but it's like it it's not easy. Oh, sorry. It's not easy, but it's simple. Saying I've been competing my whole life, man. I started when I was 5 years old, and I've always had to sacrifice some things. It's it just really comes down to how bad do you want it. Some people they talk the talk. Yeah, I want to be a champion one day, and then they're not showing up to practice. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, like I want, I want to get like stronger and fitter and cleaner, and then they're eating like crap, not going to strength and conditioning, and all this different stuff. So it comes down to actions over words, and those
Right.
actions sacrifice. And I even got, it used to like bother me a little bit in other sports and different things when like I would sacrifice and do a lot of things other people wouldn't, and then still get like the same whatever results as the other people. So I'm like, oh man, like I might as well just go party and drink, smoke, and all this different stuff too. If that's the case, that's just not who I am or who I was raised to be as, my family and different things. So it's like, but whenever you kind of step out and look at it from a broader spectrum, man, like going into these fights and competitions, man, I'm like, man, these guys haven't sacrificed more than me. I'll be
Right.
walking practice, going through like snow and crap, and I'm like, dude, like these dudes, they're just not doing it, and it's not that
Right.
even it's like it gives you like that extra chip on your shoulder, like I've earned this. Like
Mhm.
we can't control obviously what happens during the fight, or else we would all just pick 10-second flying knee, Jorge Masvidal knockouts, whatever.
Right.
And what we can control is what we do leading up, and
Mhm.
sacrifice and do my part to the 100%, man. Then and I'm gonna do it every time, and I think that's why I get the recognition that I get from guys like James Krause and Jeff Molina posting on that, the stuff about being a champion on a story. I think other people see and notice that sacrifice and know what that will bring in the future if I keep that same mentality, So
Right.
it's just something I've always done.
Mhm. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you
Mhm.
at physically? Where are you at mentally? And where are you at spiritually?
Oh man, it's a good question. Physically right now, man, I'm kind of tired right now, honestly, man. You caught me. It's my chill time. Got work tonight. Got Sunday tomorrow, rest day. Physically, I'm probably like a 7 or 8. A little sore, tired, whatever. And I really want to try to get on like a good plan to put on like some muscle and stuff physically to improve that as well. Mentally, probably coasting around like another, probably like a 7. Everything's positive, good, just kind of little things, like wanting to be with the fam, the
Right.
sacrifice, young girl, Valentine's Day, different things. But I can't complain, man. God's so good. I'm blessed, so I'm alive and healthy. Spiritually, I trying to grow more and more every day. That's a big thing that I've a big thing about moving as well, not only for the fighting, like I'm growing a lot as a man,
Right.
19 years old, but I've always been like more kind of mature growing up. I always wanted to my dad and be around him, and he's so wise, and just trying to really grow as a man as well and draw closer. I'm a Christian, trying to draw closer to God every day and, improve myself. I want to get, into like more like reading more books and different things to really like increase myself as a person, not just a fight. I want to be a better boyfriend, better son, better brother, better student, so I'm just really trying to focus on myself. I live by myself. There's really, it's a good time to be able to be selfish and really focus on myself and grow as a person and a man.
Right. So the next few questions are going to be like some more goofy questions. All right. This one, a lot of people, some people, not a lot, some people have rules against this, but I want to know your funniest gym story.
Oh man, that's hard to pick one out, bro. Cause we got a lot. We got a bunch, man. We got some goofy dudes. My boy, David Onama, man. We've been getting pretty close lately. He actually has a fight next Saturday at the UFC. He's a goofball, man. But man, funniest gym story. That's hard. I think I don't know if this is like the funniest, but more like consistent, man. Drilling with Jeff. He's funny, man. Like we have fun, that's a big part of the game. Like we'll be drilling and he'll like hit me with the body shot and then like pretend to shoot it, and different things like that. And we always go out to eat and stuff after practice and everything. So just we got a bunch of inside jokes and joking around. So there's a bunch of crazy stuff. I don't want to get anyone on this interview, so I'm just gonna leave it broad. But man, we have a good time, man. It's fun. It's fun.
Right. All right. Next two are one, if you could have a dream match with anybody standing across from you, biggest stage, Madison Square Garden, we'll say. They're standing across from you. Who are the coaches in your corner, and who is the fighter standing across from you?
Oh man, it's hard. There's nobody in my corner, man. It'd be the exact same as I got now. I have James Krause and Jeff Molina in my corner. Those are my guys. That's gonna be a really good trio, us three together. In the future, man. As far as opponent, I don't know. That's tough, man. There's no one. I don't really have any bad blood or beef with anyone where I'd want to fight them like that. I guess it'd have to be whoever had the belt. My number one goal being in the sport is I want to be one of the best to ever do it. When it comes to that being, so whoever I'd have to take out, whoever I'd have to fight to get the strap, man. That's who I'd have to be.
So there's no you want to fight Henry at Madison Square Garden or Demetrius Johnson or anybody like that?
It's so hard. You could go so many different ways. Like I could say Cejudo beating arguably one of the greatest of all time, Triple C. Demetrius, legend in the sport. I could say Figueiredo because he's the champ right now. It could be something stupid and crazy like knocking out Brock Lesnar or something. So many different ways with the question. It's like it's hard, but all those are crazy. Would be insane. And would be crazy. If I was guaranteed to win, it's hard right now too because I'm not to that level. We're still. If I was guaranteed to win, then it'd probably be like Cejudo or Demetrius Johnson or someone like that. Because legendary. Or if that was the case, it'd be like Khabib being the first one to beat him,
Right.
But there's nobody specific right now.
Right. All right. So what is your top 3 fantasy fights? Like if you were in a venue, let's say just because it's Houston.
Right.
Who were I don't know what you call the event before the co-main, but first fight, co-main, main event, who were those 3 fights? If they were just the top 3 fantasy matches that you wanted to have. It can be anybody, any weight classes.
Okay, as far as like fighting?
Yeah.
Okay. Man. So just people, or you're saying like the venues and stuff as well? Like the
situation? If you want to pick the venue, go ahead. All the situation and all that.
Well, I would love to headline a card in Houston. It's my hometown. Just growing up, going to Rockets games and stuff at the Toyota Center, that'd be amazing.
Right.
And then venue as well, like Madison Square Garden. It's legendary, insane. And then probably the MGM Grand as well, as far as venues go. And then people. My favorite fighter of all time is George St. Pierre. If I could fight him, that'd be like, talk about idols to rivals, like he's been like a legend to me ever since I started in the sport. Let's see. Another one, man, I want someone, probably McGregor. I'd want someone to talk trash, a crazy big build-up, get him probably at Madison Square Garden, since he's supposed to be like the king in New York. Let's see, who else could we throw in there? And then give me, man, there's so many good ones. Who's another just legend? Give me, man, there's so many different, and then give me Khabib. I'll take Khabib. Yeah.
All right. So have those 3, right? Main, co-main, first fight, whatever. But then have them standing across from another person. Who are those?
See them fight again?
Yeah. If you set up a fantasy match for those 3, who would it be?
This is easier because this isn't including me in my own career.
Right.
I would love to see GSP and Anderson Silva, because that within their pinnacles, bro, is like that, 2 amazing, amazing fighters, and both in their pinnacle of the sport, it was like, they were both top. So I would love to see that matchup. Khabib, I mean, a McGregor rematch would be like really cool as far as like the hype and everything, but I don't see it going much differently. So, man, if he'd fight, man, who do I even think have a chance with Khabib? Man, I would like to see him fight. I like to see him fight Usman. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I think that's somebody, as far as matchup wise, I think that'd be a really big hyped up fight, because Khabib is huge anyway, so it's not like it'd be a crazy different. Plus, stylistically, both having wrestling, striking, I think that'd be a fun matchup. 2 legends. And let's see, Conor. I would like to see him fight Diaz again. It'd be either between Diaz and Poirier. The thing, man, about him and Poirier, it's so hard, is like he'll come out so strong and it'll be like, oh, he's gonna knock him out. He was rocking him, and then that hits or the leg kicks hit or whatever, and then Poirier, he's a beast, bro. He's a dog.
Once he gets you in that spot, it just turns on. It's another switch.
You have to knock him out or choke him out. He's not gonna. And then the thing when they Diaz, then man, he's just some clowns. I'd like to see a Diaz trilogy, man, because Poirier and him, they've had their different things and a bunch of stuff. I'd like to see a Diaz trilogy with McGregor, because it makes sense. They're 1-1, so it makes sense if this can really happen. Plus the trash talk and everything lead up would be so fun to watch, and it'd be such a good.
So I'm gonna reel it back in for the final question. It's gonna be another one of those big-brained questions. All right.
All right.
You make it to the UFC. What does it take for that in that career? just messed up the microphone. What does it take when you're there, when you're finally there? What does it take for you to say, okay, I can walk away after I've done this? I can say,
Right.
all right, I look back when I'm leaving my last fight. I'm looking at the cage. I see my gloves laying in the middle of the octagon, and I can peacefully walk out that door, no questions asked.
Right. Man, number one obvious for me is obviously becoming champion. But I just want to know I did everything that I can do, in the sport. I I was very I no regrets with like the way my wrestling career ended, because I knew I gave it everything I had, even though I only got to make it to the finals and not win state, even though that was huge for me. But I knew I did everything I can do. There's
Mm-hmm.
only up role. But as far as the perfect story, if I can just pick perfectly how it happens, man, and I'd like to get the belt, defend it however many times. I'm not crazy about any like records, but most of all, man, I just really want to use the I want to use that platform to make a difference, make a change, and like impact. Like I don't just want to be a UFC champion. For me, like I want to
Mm-hmm.
get to that spot so I can use that influence. You got guys like Drake, who's a popular artist, and all these different actors and fighters, and you got the Tom Brady's of football and LeBron James of basketball. Like they do their sport, but then they have their impact as well.
Right.
So for me, fighting's always been my sport, but I try to be a light and try to make an impact on everyone's lives that I come across.
Mm-hmm.
Speak to, interviews, and whoever I fight, people I train with, my coaches, like my fans, my family, like anybody. I just want to make an impact, and then eventually I would like to still always stay involved in the sport somehow. Like I would like to kind of have James Krause doing it, like focus more on like coaching and still stay, and pass my knowledge on after. But as far as my legacy goes, man, I would love to become a world champion one day, and make a positive impact and difference while doing it. And if I could do that, I'd be more than happy.
All right, man. That was Michael White, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anywhere we can expect to see you, and do you have any merch to drop?
Man, hopefully as soon as possible, man. I talked to my management team last night. We're going to try to get something put together soon. So hopefully we'll have some fight news coming soon. Dukes Up Official has they're like a soap company, and I got like my own I guess like version. It's called Underdog and Scent. So that'll be dropping soon. So I'll be posting that on my social medias,
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram at Micah Dynamite. And I want to try to start getting more active on Twitter and different things. But in general, man, I appreciate the interview. It was awesome talking with you, and I hope you have success as well in your career and everything.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving me the time. Micah Dynamite on Twitter. Go follow him there. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a good one.